Hello, my friend. Welcome to live chat. I am happy to be here with you today. It's going to be an interesting topic today. I'm excited to hear your opinions on this. I love having both the What's Up in Makeup News show, where I'm kind of spouting off my opinions and then I hear from you in the comments, and then also having live chat where I can hear live from people in the community their opinions, and I can also hear from you if you're watching this on the replay in the comment section down below. But having that live conversation about some of these topics, I think, is really, really special. And today we're going to be talking about indie beauty brands. What do they do right? What do they do wrong? What makes an indie beauty brand thrive? What makes them really stand out? And it's hard. It's hard in the indie beauty streets. It really is. What prompted this is that Milan Rowe announced that they are going out of business. And I had never heard of Milan Rowe until, I don't know, a few months ago, where a creator I follow, Doodles by the Bunny, who creates mock-ups of different palettes. She started designing for them. And she designed this palette, this Poison Ivy palette, and they sent it to me. And I love this palette. This palette is freaking awesome. It is fabulous. And then I find out, I don't know, it was maybe a couple months ago. I feel like it was early summer that they created this with her, and now they're going out of business. So it's like, I'm not here to judge what Milan Rose specifically did right and wrong. I just want to speak in general because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes in any of these businesses. I think we've learned that from from watching, things happen in the public eye later on, the whole Makeup Geek story, the Gerard Cosmetics story. Excuse me, we didn't know what was happening behind the scenes many years ago. So I don't want to sit here and assume that I know what's happening behind the scenes. What I want to talk about is us as consumers. And if you do review makeup in any capacity, what does that look like to us as makeup reviewers? Because some people, even if you're getting product from, even if you have a blog where you purchase products yourself, or if you have, a Instagram where you purchase products and review them, or a TikTok or whatever. Like, I want to hear from that perspective as well. What do we see as people who publicly review makeup that indie brands are doing right and indie brands are doing wrong? So that's the topic today. And mostly because I'm really sad about Milan Rowe that they didn't make it. And we're starting to see more and more indie brands dropping off. Like, what is happening there? What can indie brands do to survive? And I want this to be mostly a very positive conversation about what they can do positively. How can we help indie brands with our knowledge as consumers and or people who review makeup? What can we give to them to help them have a leg up in the industry? What can we help them with? So that's the focus today. A lot of these brands are women owned, and we were all, I would love to support, women owned businesses as much as possible, because I feel like, I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds on that one. You know why? I'm not going to go too deep in the weeds. I don't need to. You know what I'm saying. Okay, but before we do, let's say hello very quickly to the people that are here live in the collective brain of makeup awesomeness, where we have conversations like this. So let's talk about it. Kimberly is here to chat with us. Good morning to you. Happy Sunday. Hi, Sarah. Good morning in West Virginia. Hi, Leah. Good morning to you. Hi, Christina. Happy Sunday. Hi, Donnelly. Good morning to you. And good morning to the moderators. I did see that Teresa's birthday is tomorrow, and she is celebrating being cancer-free. And I am so happy that Teresa's here. Teresa is freaking amazing. Thank you so much, Teresa, for moderating, and for Flory for moderating. I believe John is listening in today. Thank you, John, for being here. My husband is here. And then thank you to Audra, who I believe is going to be here. I don't know if Steph is going to make it today, but I really appreciate the moderators taking time out of their day. They're not getting paid to be here. They don't get any perks, like, they're just taking their own time to keep our place safe. So thank you, moderators, for being here. And thank you to Donna Lee for pointing out and thanking the mods, because we love them. Hello, Roya. So good to see you. Hi, Slick. Hi, is it Nolly? We'll just call you Na. I love that. Good morning in Costa Rica. One day I hope to make it there. One day. There's Teresa. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Monica. Look like we're moving out of California into Oregon. Oh, that's a big difference. Well, it depends on what part of California you currently live in. I forget where you live now. But that might be a very significant move. Might be. And going to Oregon. Wow. I hope that you have a great move. I hope that works out well for you. Um, and I guess we can stop there. Andrea, good morning to you. There's Slick again. So excited. I'm excited too. Hi, Liz. Hi, Mel. Hi, Ms. Lavender and Jennifer and Consuelo and Bailey and Cynthia. Cynthia, your comment from my Stitch Fix video is in the end of What's Up in Makeup Today. Make sure you watch to the end so you can see a little comment pop up. And Tracy, good morning to you. And hello to Tiffany. Good to see you. All right. If I did not say, oh, wait, here. Bailey, just very quickly, the Sunday live chats, most of them are at 10 a.m. Eastern time. The only ones that are at 5 p.m. Eastern time are the first Sunday of the month right now. That's going to go through December. After December, I don't know what's going to happen because it depends on my market schedule because I sell marshmallows at farmers markets. It's a weird thing if you've never been here before and you just heard that and you're like, what are you talking about? It's a whole thing. But that's why they end up being at 5 p.m. So through December, it's the first Sunday of the month that's going to be at 5 p.m. Every other one is at 10 a.m. Eastern time. All right. So let's go ahead and scroll all the way down. Thank you so much. We have a new member, Alexandra. Thank you so much for joining the Collective Brain Elite. There you are. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Just as a side note, this palette is currently on sale. They're not paying me or anything. I have no affiliate link. They just sent me this one palette in PR. I don't know the people over there, but this palette is on sale for $12 right now. Original price was $39. So if you want this, this is the time to get it. If you like this color story, it performs beautifully, absolutely beautiful. I'll swatch a couple for you while we chat. Here's a couple of the, look at this. I mean, for reals. I'm going to put my finger in that Ivy League one more time because this one looks a little bit. There we go. Get a couple of these. Look at that. I mean, for real, is that green though? Let me just swatch a couple of the mattes for you so you can see them. Trying to help them out, you know? Yes, thank you so much. Yes, Belly, you are very welcome. I know it's late on market days, but didn't realize it was the first Sunday. Yeah, I don't talk about it very well sometimes. That is not your fault. That is on me. Here's a few. That was my weak finger. I'm going to go back in on that gray shade just so you can see a little bit of what's happening there. Come on, focus, focus. There you are. That green, though, it really gives me a St. Patrick's Day vibe. Really and truly, it does. But it'll be here before we know it. And you don't have to use the whole color story altogether either. If you're not digging on like the brighter greens, you don't have to. You mean, you know how to use an eyeshadow palette. I don't need to tell you that. All right. So anyway, hi, Jen. Speaking of indie brand owners, hi, Jen, owner of Gerard Cosmetics. Would love to hear your take on this stuff. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. I did take a couple of notes. So I said, talk about your perspective. This is my notes. I was like, talk about your perspective as a YouTuber and a consumer, because I am both. And I've been, reviewing indie, not specifically indie makeup, but indie makeup brands here and there for, I would say, when I first started reviewing indie makeup brands, were probably about 8 years ago. In the beginning, no, that's not true, because there were some indie brands that I reviewed back a long, long time ago. And I've seen a lot of them come and go. Coastal Scents. Anybody? Coastal Scents, 88 palette. We've seen a lot of them come and go. And, I think that there are certain things that certain indie brands do that really make them stand out. But this is the thing. I'll just read what I wrote. I said, you have to create something that people will go to you for, that people will go to that brand for. It doesn't even have to reinvent the wheel. It just has to stand out, which is really hard. That's like coming to my channel and just being like, you just need to create engaging content. You just need to make really good thumbnails. It's like, what do you mean by that? But what do you actually mean by that? Like, how do you create videos that people will click on? We're all trying to figure that out. If it was easy, and the more people figure out what people will click on, the more people do that thing. And then You have to think of something else because everybody's doing that thing. You know, you think about the engaging thumbnails. You know, we were all making the, thumbnails. And then everybody started making thumbnails and they all looked the same. So we had to figure out another way to get people to click. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with indie makeup. You know, you want to get people's attention. So you make something like a color changing blush, right? But then everybody starts coming out with color changing blush. You think about, oh, I'm going to put skincare in my makeup. Now everybody's freaking putting skincare in their makeup. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not that easy. Like it's easy to say, well, make something good and people will buy it. No, it's like, it sounds simple, but it's really not. um, yeah, I mean, it's all about getting people to pay attention to you in the crowd because it is a crowded market. And, it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort and making the right choices in order to stand out. It's really freaking hard because if it wasn't that hard, everybody would be doing it, you know? All right, let me see what you all are saying. Yes, I love Indie Beat, honestly, great quality. So I have one palette from Indie Beat, and it's right here, the Skid Row palette. And they're using, just like a lot of brands use, they use something, and this is very, very popular to do, is using something that, like, it doesn't say Little Shop of Horrors on here. Like, but it's clearly Little Shop of Horrors, you know, themed, right? But it's not called Little Shop of Horrors. It's called Skid Row because that's where it takes place, is what they call Skid Row. And this, even if I hadn't talked to the brand owner privately, I bought some stuff from Sunset Makeup and I bought stuff from Indie Beat to support both brands after the story when they were arguing with each other. They were fighting. The creator of Indie Beat had reached out to me, and then I ended up doing the story on it, and I ended up purchasing this, and it's really good. It's a great palette. It's fantastic. I mean, it's everything I would want from a palette. Like, I don't know what else I would want. It works great. It's a good palette. It's a cute color story. And I was in this play when I was in high school. It was my senior year. I was Audrey too. I was the puppeteer. I was not the voice. That was our janitor at the time. He was the voice. He had a big, deep, booming voice. And it was an orchestra pit voicing while I did the puppeteering for this. So that was my emotional connection to this. And that's one way that indie brands are standing out, is doing collabs. But the problem is with doing things like that, not collabs. Well, some of them are licensed collabs. Some of them are just inspired. But the problem is that it has to also be good quality. And I think that's where a lot of indie brands fall down, ones that want to do it quickly and not really paying attention, is that, if you create something from an indie brand that feels mass produced, that feels cheap, people aren't going to go back to your brand. They might buy it for the nostalgia of something, or, because it's cute packaging or whatever. But if what's inside doesn't spark joy, like, we're going to bring it in on that. If it doesn't make the person happy making it, like using it, why would they go back? And I think it's that emotional connection to the products when you use something and you're like, yes. Because I think we've all used a makeup product where we're like, yes, this is freaking amazing. Like, this is bringing me so much joy. And when you have that emotional connection to something, whether it's a food or a makeup product or a TV show or something, you're more likely to return. And I think it's all about creating that emotional connection. How are you going to do that as a brand? And part of that is just creating consistently good quality products that people can count on. And I think that's where some indie brands have fallen down, where, you have good products that suck people in, and then all of a sudden the quality starts getting a little wonky and you're like, what is happening here? Why is this wonky? you know Yes, exactly, Danielle. And I'm sure it's why there are so many intellectual property collabs, but now it's getting to be overdone too. Oh, absolutely. It's so over. There's so many right now. There's so many because people realize how much money there is in it. Like we talked about the new, I think she's the new president, I think is her title, of NYX Cosmetics, that she's the one who brought in the collabs with Casa de Papel, with Avatar Way of Water, and with the Barbie movie. And now she's talking about doing that even more and more and more. And it's kind of like what Makeup Revolution has done, where their biggest launches are the ones that are collaborating with people. But it's like, it's a sea now of collaborations. It's gonna die. It's gonna die eventually. It's just a matter of time before the collaborations with, or the inspiration dies. So people are just capitalizing on it while it lasts, but I don't see it lasting forever. I really don't, especially when you got, brands like Makeup Revolution who are putting out all of these collabs and the products inside are just absolute crap. They don't spark joy in using them for the most part. Some of them, they can have a good concealer here and there, but like, especially I feel like eyeshadow palettes. If you can't get a good look out of an eyeshadow palette and you're just frustrated with it, it creates a negative experience, and I think that that's bad. And that's going to hurt your brand overall. That's just my opinion. Lennon says there isn't much reinventing you can do to the actual product. So it's about social presence, creating a new way to promote. Absolutely. And like I wanted to talk for a second about Freck Beauty. So Freck Beauty started off with freckle products and supposedly they're absolutely amazing. But I think they've kind of painted themselves into a corner with that in that people are only going to go to them for this trendy thing. And I know people that have freckles are like, what the heck? Why are people drawing on freckles? I've been trying to cover my freckles my entire life. And now people are drawing freckles on. Like, what is that? It's a trend. It's a trend. And I'm nervous for that brand that once, the freckle trend dies down or dies out, that their brand will also die. So like, I don't know what they have right now. Let me look and see what else they have on their lineup. Oh, they have other things that are cute. But I think naming it Freck Beauty, I'm a little nervous for that. But they have tons of stuff. I think the product that stood out to me was their cheek product. They really have some trendy freaking names. So if you go to their website, they have the Rich Serum Radio Edit, the Rich Lip Balm, which I think is cute. And the thing is it's very, let me screenshot it for you so you can see. The packaging is very, it's very bland, which goes with like the IDGAF marketing of just the name of it. Let me insert it. I have so many overlays. I don't remember when the last time was that I did. Oh, it was a long time ago. Then I have all these overlays in there that shouldn't be, that I should have deleted at this point. Okay, it's loading. There you go. Okay, so like you can see, it's very bland, but I think it goes really well with this name. I think it goes super well with that name. I don't want to keep it on the screen too long, but where's the one that really stood out to me? So they have like this, I'm doing a case study right now. Okay. I didn't think about doing this beforehand or else I would have already had these things ready, but I didn't think about it beforehand. Okay. So like this is super cool looking. That's something different. This is their bronzer sculpting stick. I don't know if this stuff is good products. I really don't. I don't know. But their blush, where's the blush? Their blush is really cool looking. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Yes, I just was about to say a cuss word and then I switched it. Okay. This one right here, the cheek slime. Like that's I think is really smart. And the packaging, I think really makes it stand out. Is it good? I have no idea, but it's intriguing. Okay, I'm putting it in. If you're listening, I apologize that I'm showing you all these things and not describing them. Okay, so just really quickly, if you were listening, the Face Hack bronzer, it has a little wheel at the bottom. It's kind of oval shaped and it has a little wheel at the bottom that almost looks like a Reese's peanut butter cup at the bottom that you turn, I guess, to make the product go up. And it's white packaging. The cheek slime, it is very odd looking. So it's pointed at the top. The one that I'm looking at, it's got a red top that has a little flip top. And on the bottom is like a squeezable, like rounded shape. It almost looks like a garden gnome in its shape, with a little hat and then the big round body. And then it kind of pinches in at the bottom. And the shade that I found first is like this bold purple shade. And it's just really neat looking. So I think that I think they're going a really good direction now looking at this, because I feel like, just going with Freck Beauty and just going with the trend of freckles, yeah, that might get you off the ground, but you've got to do something beyond that. And it looks like they're doing that they are really trying to stand out, which I think is really smart. And I'm so glad that we did this as a case study. because I think this is a really good example of a brand that's doing everything they can to get customer attention, you know? Oh no, Pam says Teresa is dead, reviewed their bronzer and it was bad. No, that makes me so sad. See, that's what's going to kill it. That's what's going to kill it, is if the product inside, like you can have the cutest packaging ever. You can have the best marketing ever. But if the packaging inside sucks, you are screwed. Like that's not good. Oh man. Wanda, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Oh, I see Audra's here. Audra knows so much about indie beauty. Oh my gosh. Oh, Unearthly Cosmetics is here. Hello, hello. Hi, Unearthly Cosmetics. I do have a couple of Unearthly Cosmetics products that I got in Charleston. Love them all. I actually where's the, right here. I have this with the little snow globe at the top. Like, what is up with the snow globe? Why is this so fun? I was saying in a past live stream, I was saying how this reminds me, my mom used to have something like this on her purse, on her keys. And I used to play with it when my mom was doing, like, my mom used to sell Avon, and we would go over to people's houses and my mom would sit and talk forever with these women and I'd be bored out of my mind. So I would just play with the little snow globe thing it was like a long thing. And I would just play with it because I was bored out of my mind. But let me tell you, I'm going to go off topic for a second because this is a terrible story. So I was playing with my mom's keys. My mom had pepper spray on her keys and I did not know it was pepper spray. And I was like, what is this? And I turned it and I sprayed it right in my own face. I don't know how old I was. My mom was selling Avon, so I must have been under the age of 8. And I sprayed pepper spray right in my eyeballs. Yes, the safety was on. Yes, I must have figured out how to turn it off. So that was probably, my mom even said, she's like, that was so stupid. She totally blamed herself. She felt absolutely awful. That was totally, like, she felt terrible. Like, why did I do that? But anyway, back on topic, that's what this reminds me of, the little snow globey thing on the top. So yes. Oh, Unearthly says I have more neutral things coming for you soon, Jen. But you know what? The palette though, the Unearthly palette that I have, which I think is right here. Where is it? I had it out. I don't mind the bold colors because if I can work with them. But having like a good cool toned shadow palette with that formula is going to be money. It's going to be money. I'm telling you. Like this kind of get like a taupey palette with those formulas. Yes. I will die. Yes, I sprayed it right in my eyeballs. I haven't thought about that in years. My mom still feels bad about it. Sorry, Mom. So yes, ended that sale right away. Yes, I'm sure that they were talking for way too long because that happened. We also went to yard sales a lot. And it's why I hate certain stores now to this day, because they remind me of yard sales. I like a good yard sale now, but it's for a short amount of period of time. So anyway, okay. Back on topic. Let's pop back on topic. So where's my phone? So we were talking about just doing, let's see. Okay. So consistent quality that builds trust. Okay, finding joy in a product that you want to get more of, that you want to get more of that joy, and we'll try other things from the line, but that also needs to bring joy, is what I wrote down. It has to be consistent. And then a positive customer experience, I think, makes a huge difference too, is if there happens to be an issue, that customer service is on it and takes care of it, even if the brand takes a small loss from it. It's one thing because people are shady. And people will do some shady stuff. And I've heard from indie brand owners before that customers will try to take advantage of return policies and things like that. And it can put a brand under if there's too much loss and not enough sales from people taking advantage of that. So I understand like rules being in place, like no returns and stuff, but that needs to be very, very clear up front. It needs to be clear that it, like on the purchase page, have a little thing that says no returns, due to the nature of the product or whatever you want to say, so that people know right away, and you can point that out when they come back and say they want to return it, if that's going to be the thing. But I think that when the customer service ends up being poor, when people feel like they were wronged, when good people who weren't going into it with a bad intention, when something happens. It can sour you to the entire brand, and it can be completely unintentional. And you're never, when you're texting back and forth, which a lot of this happens through email, there can be miscommunication. So it's just really important to try to avoid that. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer, but I think that that's really important to the positive customer experience is if something goes wrong, how does the brand handle it? I think that that's super important. And go back over to the comments. Okay, so the next one is, okay, I was saying the price point has to be worth it, both low or high, it has to match. So if you're gonna come out with a high price point product, like I was thinking of Ilia, like right off the bat. The reason why Ilia is so expensive is because it's the natural, it's the clean beauty movement. It's all the natural stuff, right? So that's why it's so expensive, is because they're supposed to be using better ingredients. Same thing, wait, no, yeah, I'm just gonna stick with Ilia for now. The problem with clean beauty ingredients is that the preservative system sometimes, and I'm not saying this specifically to Ilia, but sometimes the preservative system isn't as strong because they're using more natural preservatives that just aren't as effective as something like phenoxyethanol or parabens or whatever. So you're kind of cutting off your nose to spite your face in that way, in that, you're marketing to a certain consumer, but at the same time, if they end up with a moldy product, like I remember Herbivore Botanicals got themselves in trouble with that. And I think I've told this story before, but I was in the gym and this is when I used to go to the gym. This was many moons ago. And I was using an Herbivore moisturizer after the gym, and it smelled horrible. Like I didn't remember it smelling like that, and it smelled so bad. And then it was like the next day I learned that people were saying that there was mold growing in their Herbivore Botanicals. I was like, so did I buy anything else from Herbivore Botanicals ever again? No. Has it been like 4 years? Yeah. And I still haven't bought anything from them. So it's like that can really sour somebody toward the brand. So just doing everything in your power to handle those situations and handle them well. Rich Lux, thank you for becoming a member, Rich. That's the thing about Rich. Rich, I've talked about this before. Rich does things that I do not agree with 100%, but I'm always rooting for him to do better. Just like indie brands. Sometimes they do things that I don't agree with, but I'm always rooting for them to do better. And, it's hard. It's hard when you see good in people, and then people like, it's hard, man. It's so hard. But Rich, thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Thank you. Girl. Anyway, let's keep talking about indie brands. I know Rich has opinions about this. So what was I going to say? Okay, so positive customer experience. People remember. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Morphe for a minute. Let's talk about Morphe. Let's dig deep in Morphe. So Morphe, the problem with Morphe, this is what happened. Actually, you know what? Let's take a quick break and let's talk about what's on my face. And then we will talk about Morphe, because I want to get deep in it. And I don't want to get deep in it for 2 minutes and then have to jump out of it. All right, here we go. So this is what's on my eyes today. This is the Sakura Alter Ego palette from Alter Ego, Sakura palette. This palette is so light toned. It's so light toned. I don't see how, like, you can't deepen it. I tried so hard to deepen it today and it just wasn't working. It's very light toned. So just know. Yeah. Just know. It's great quality though. I really like Alter Ego's, their formulas are really good. So on my lips today is lip gloss. And then I put this shade Petal is my lipstick, but it was too light. It was too close to my skin tone and it looked really weird. So I use this Too Faced blush. There's also PR. This is the Cloud Crush in Watermelon Rain. Watermelon Rain. Do you remember Chocolate Rain? This right here, I put a tiny, tiny bit of this just to deepen it a little bit because it was too much. This is my blush today, but I put a little bit into that shade. And then I use the bronzer as well. This is the Golden Cocoa shade in natural chocolate golden cocoa. This was also PR. And I could go off about Too Faced and what they're doing right and wrong, but I want to focus more on Morphe and what Morphe did wrong, in my opinion. So this is the thing, is that Morphe built their base on influencers, right? We know this. But they also built their base on influencers telling people that their quality was amazing and better than anything else. And that turned out not to be so true. So I think that people were under the spell of these influencers that they trusted, right? And they would get their Morphe palettes and they'd be fine. Like, I feel like the Morphe palettes were fine. Like, you could get them to perform if you worked at it. But the more you use them, the more you realize how much work the eyeshadow palettes are. Like, you can get a good look off the jump, and Jaclyn Hill's telling you that it's amazing, and all the other people are telling you that it's amazing. So maybe the reason why it's not working as well on me is because it's my fault, because I'm just not as talented as the people that I'm watching. Maybe it's me. So you continue to buy Morphe because these people that you trust are telling you that it's really good. Then you start realizing that the people that you trusted, you shouldn't have trusted. And then you're questioning your life because it's like, it wasn't me after all. They didn't tell me the truth because they wanted you to use their code for 10% off. So once customers realized that, they stopped buying because people were buying more from Morphe and realizing this stuff is mediocre. Like, it wasn't bad. Morphe stuff isn't bad overall. I don't think I've ever gotten a Morphe product except for a couple of brushes that I thought were bad. They're just meh. It's mass-produced meh. You can have mass-produced great stuff, and you can have mass-produced meh. And that's what Morphe made. And people realized that, and I think that's why sales went down, because they didn't have their mouthpieces to tell everybody how amazing they were. So that they had to rely on the actual quality of the products, So then that's when people realized. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when people realized. Sheila, Chocolate Rain, I'm an OG YouTuber. I was around in 2006. I've seen it all go down from Chocolate Rain and before. I wasn't around for Me at the Zoo, but I was around shortly after. Gosh, I miss those days sometimes. So, but anyway, okay. Yes, Angie's like, the problem with Morphe, which one? There are so many. I mean, there's more beyond that, but I'm talking about product-wise specifically. Of course, there's so much more wrong with Morphe. And of course, Morphe ended up not being an indie beauty brand after a while. They were an indie beauty brand until they started Forma with all these people or whatever, and then they became a parent company, and then they were owned underneath the parent company. So they weren't an indie brand anymore. So yeah, I mean, the thing is you didn't miss much. Sorojan said, never tried Morphe. It seemed like too much drama for me. You didn't miss much. I remember trying the foundation that came out, and I was like, oh, Shanine from Too Much Mouth. She split her PR with me. She had given me the light shades, and I got to try the Morphe foundation, and it was not good. It was not good. And with so many choices out there, like, sometimes, I do feel like the customer overall with any brand is going to give a chance, a lot of times, you try something and you really like something from a brand, right? And then you get something else and you don't like it. You're like, crap, I really don't like this. But a lot of people are willing to let a one-off go. Maybe it was just that one product that you didn't like, right? So you end up trying the brand again. And the third product is really the one that's going to be the deciding factor when it comes down to it, of how likely you are to buy from again. Third product, let's say, is crap. You don't buy anything for a while, but then something really catches your eye. You may give them a fourth chance, but I think that fourth chance, if it doesn't work out, it's at least for me, I'm speaking from my perspective, it feels like it's the end for me. Yeah, Allie says, Morphe was a disappointing brand for me, as every shade felt like chalk on my skin, then disappeared after 5 minutes. And, even though it didn't feel like chalk on my skin, well, no, it did feel like chalk. It definitely disappeared. And the thing with the Morphe shadows is you had to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth to get them to do anything. They would be beautiful in a swatch, beautiful in the pan, and then you went to put them on and they would just go away. It was shadows like that it helped me to invent the wipe test. Remember when I used to do the swatches and I would wipe them away to show how fast they went away? Because when you're applying a shadow, if it doesn't stick to the skin, like it has to stick to the skin to an extent because you don't want it to stick too hard because then it won't be blendable, but you don't want it to just blend away, you know? So yeah, it just, yeah, yeah. Yeah, in the end, I agree with you. That's what I'm trying to say, is I agree with you. Yes, exactly, Cynthia. Morphe brushes were great until you washed them. Absolutely. That was the issue, excuse me. And some of them, when I bought them off the jump, they were spiky. They were pokey. Don't give me an eye brush that's pokey. I don't want that. No, thank you. No, thank you. Yeah. Linda says, out of all the Morphe palettes, Sweet Tea was the only one that had some good quality shades, in my opinion. I never had that one. I do not know that one. Jamie, the hydrating Morphe setting spray is lovely, but I stopped buying because of their questionable everything. You know, I heard that. Do you remember when the stores were all shutting down, Jamie? And there was a one, I don't know if you saw this, but there was a TikTok where somebody had gotten like 6 of the setting sprays because they were like 42 cents each or something ridiculous. Because I did hear that product was really good. And the thing is, if that's the first product you try, you're going to create that brand loyalty, right? But if that's, a lot of people probably won't make it there because it's just they misled people into believing that their range was good through the mouths of influencers that we realized were not good people. And it's just so sad. It's so sad because it's like you think about the people that Morphe had worked with. They pretty much all, not all of them, because I can't think of every single one off the top of my head, but the major players all turned out to have questionable ethics, and some of them all out just seem to be, based on the way they present themselves to the world, horrible people. And that says a lot about the brand in that those are the people that they picked, the people that would promote poor quality products as if they were amazing, you know? So, like T from Nappy Headed Jojoba says, never trust anyone with a Morphe code. And she'd been saying that for years. She'd been trying to tell everybody for years. People didn't believe her. Well, some people did. A lot of people agreed with her and like me, but a lot of us agree with her, but you know what I'm saying? So yes. Oh, Samantha Riley is here. What's up, Samantha? Samantha did a collab with an indie brand back in the day. I got your signature on my palette because I was fangirling. Yeah, it was all the same. I'm talking a decade ago. Angie what was she responding to what Angie was saying? Where's Angie? Oh, BH had a better quality than Morphe. I feel like BH was spotty, to be honest. I feel like, yes, back in the day, BH was very spotty in their quality. They were very coastal scents, where you would sometimes get a hit, but a lot of it was bad. It was only in the later years that BH started upping their quality. I agree with Samantha 100%. And they were around the same time as Morphe. So I agree with Angie that BH had better quality than Morphe in the end. But in the beginning, I agree with Samantha. No. Yeah. Just say no to pokey brushes. Oh, definitely. 100%. So let me go back to my notes. I have to reopen my phone because, okay. So what else did I talk about? Melt Cosmetics. That was another one I had on my list of companies to talk about. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Melt's still an indie brand. I wanted to really focus more on the bigger indie brands because number one, they probably won't watch this and that won't hurt their feelings. And number two, like they're bigger brands. If I say something, then they're not taking a hit from my video. It's not happening. They're still going to be fine. So anyway, with Melt, I feel like Melt came out of the gate with like really good quality, like super good quality. But then they're in like really cute packaging, really cute marketing. And then their quality just started shaking a little bit. There were a couple of products. There was one palette that I bought, which was kind of the beginning of it, where the pans were falling out of the palettes, which, yeah, you can re-glue them in, but it's still not a great customer experience. And then, and there was a broken shadow issue. It wasn't the pans falling out. That's not true. Rewind. That's not true. I think I might have heard. what I'm thinking about is that the shadows were overpressed in the pan and they came broken. I had like a few of them that were like completely and totally shattered. I ended up putting in a little bit of rubbing alcohol, of rubbing alcohol and repressing it, so it ended up being fine. But it's just not a good customer experience to like open up something, spend 50 some dollars on opening it up and it's broken. It's just not a good. It's not a good look. And then their quality started becoming a bit inconsistent. I don't know if they changed labs or what, but their quality was just a little bit shaky. And what I've learned behind the scenes talking to more makeup owners is that brands switch labs more often than I would imagine. I didn't realize that that was a thing with brands not, going to a bunch of different labs. So I never even really thought about that until recently, that you can have a brand have really good quality with something, but then they choose a cheaper lab for a specific product. And it's like, well, I should say manufacturing facility, a cheaper manufacturing facility for a specific product. And you end up with an inconsistency, just for cutting costs or whatever that may be. So that's something that I feel like brands need to really be careful with. Because I do think that creates a loyalty, especially the smaller indie brands, which can't rebound as fast when something like that happens. Yeah, Elizabeth says, I feel like Melt ran out of ideas, too many marijuana themes palettes, LOL. And I think this is another point that I had written down, is that knowing your brand identity and sticking with it. Like I kind of like Melt and Milk Makeup, they really go with the weed theme. They really do. They go with it so much. And that's great for a specific audience. But I don't think that appeals to everybody. And I think that people, when the CBD boom happened, because CBD was all of a sudden approved to be put in cosmetics, hemp-based. It all had to be hemp-based, and it had to couldn't have more than like point something percent of THC, and like it had to be like super low. The it really like I was actually shocked that so many companies jumped on that, because when I went to Cosmoprof back many years ago when I was thinking about starting a skincare line, I went to a seminar on CBD, and it was by far the most packed seminar that I went to. People were lining the walls to learn about CBD and cosmetics because it was brand new. And a lot of indie brands were looking to put it in their products. But what they said is it is a big pain in the butt, because it is legal some places. Back then it was legal even less places. And if you go over that THC mark, even by a fraction of a percent, you're now selling illegal drugs. So you have to be super, super freaking careful with it. And it was a dangerous place to play. And then because people saw that it was a trend and that people were excited about it, they started making claims about it that weren't really deeply scientifically researched, because there wasn't enough time to research it. It was basically just based on the properties of it, that it could do this, but they were claiming it could do all of these things. And people weren't seeing the results from it. Depending on the brand, people just weren't seeing results from. I'm not saying nobody saw any results from a CBD product, but people weren't seeing the results from it. And so many small skincare brands went under because of it, because they rushed to create products based on a trend, and then the trend died. We talked about it a few weeks ago in What's Up in Makeup, that the CBD trend is like pretty much dead. A lot of the CBD based skincare lines are gone. And then the makeup lines that had produced CBD products, you had even like brands like Essence, I believe, like I think it was either Essence or Catrice, I can't remember, but there were so many of those products out. People got tired of it. It was an oversaturation, and it was only marketing to a niche group of people. So when was the last time you saw a major brand come out with a CBD or based product? Freaking forever ago. And I think that was a big mistake that a lot of brands made, was jumping on that trend so hard. Some of them building their entire brand identities based on it, and then it died. And their brands died with it. And it's so freaking sad that it ended up that way. Yeah, Fleur says, because I swear CBD does like nothing. So my best friend uses a THC balm. It is legal here in Maryland now. A THC balm for like arthritis and stuff like that. She swears by it, absolutely swears by these THC based balms. But the CBD stuff doesn't seem to do as much. Like, do you remember the skincare line from, I used to have it sitting out. The one from with the chick that was in that show. That had the bright packaging. What was the CBD line that it was like Happy Dance. With the chick that was, I'm talking about Happy Dance. It's gone. Even a celebrity couldn't save that brand because it was a CBD based brand. I think that, it was. I think they thought it was going to have a longevity that it just didn't have, and I don't think you could have predicted that. But at the same time, like to base your whole start of your brand on something like that, I don't think was a great idea. But I think hindsight's 2020 on that, and I don't blame any brands for thinking it was going to last longer, because how long has that been popular? A long time. Kristen Bell, thank you. That chick that was in that show, The Good Place, which is a fantastic show in my opinion, if you can tolerate absolute silliness. If you can suspend your disbelief and just get so silly with it, it's a fantastic show. It does get a little long, but the end is very good in my opinion. I really enjoyed the end of that show. Anyway, so that's the other thing, is developing your brand identity, and then, who are you? What is your brand about? Excuse me. What is your brand about? And then sticking with it. I think that some companies, they go too far off of their brand identity and they lose it, and that's another way that they can go out. So yeah, Happy Dance is gone. They're gone. For a while, you get their stuff really cheap. I forget where they were sold, but they were selling it on a deep discount for a while. That's so sad. I know. Even Kristen Bell couldn't save it. I love The Good Place. I love The Good Place. So yeah, I mean, I think that the number one thing I think that indie brands need to do is the same thing that YouTubers need to do. Is they just need to get attention from the audience. But it's much easier said than done. It's so much easier said than done to get the attention. And the way brands are getting attention right now is, like we were saying earlier, through collabs with things that are famous, shows and retro stuff, or being inspired by that. But I think that's going to die. I do. I think that's going to die, and there's going to have to be something else. And I think that it's just up to the brands to keep up on those trends. But then the problem is, like, it would be really nice if brands could just figure out, like, what am I trying to say? Like, figuring out their brand identity and having that is what makes them special, is their brand identity as a whole. And I think Too Faced was on the right track with that. And I think that's why they were so popular for so long. But the problem with Too Faced, and I think indie brands can learn from this, is that their quality is so inconsistent. And I think if Too Faced could put out consistent quality, and I think this is part of when you get sold to a huge parent company, they don't realize how important that quality is, and then they cut corners. So instead of worrying about, making the most per product, worry about selling the most product by creating the best quality product possible, because Too Faced has so much going for it. I mean, the cutest freaking packaging. I know some of y'all hate scented makeup, but I think that it's amazing. I love the idea of a scented eyeshadow palette. It brings me so much joy. Like, the fact that I can open this bronzer and smell chocolate makes me so happy. Like, these products, the good ones, create such a positive experience, but the problem is I can't trust them. They have lost my trust as a brand because their quality is so inconsistent, especially their eyeshadow formula. It pisses me off to no end. And then they're expensive. They're expensive. So I have to either, if you're outside of the US, you might not be able to return it. Inside the US and other places where you can return, you still have to go through the effort of getting it back to Too Faced, getting it back to the store, which is annoying. Nobody wants to do that. We're busy. We got stuff to do. We don't have time to mess with that. It's much better to be able to trust the brand. And like that freaking last palette that they sent me, the Cosmic Crush palette, was absolute garbage. I don't know what the heck was happening there. They need to get out of that lab, the lab that they are using. Too Faced, if you are watching this, which I know they're not, get out of the lab that says on the back, packaged in the Dominican Republic, produced in the US, packaged in the Dominican Republic. You need to drop that lab because the products that come out of that lab are trash. You need to stop. Just stop. Go to the other lab, the one that doesn't say made in the US, packaged in the Dominican Republic. Just use them. Even if you're taking a financial hit for it, trust me, you will make more money on the end. Okay, that was my message. That was my message to Too Faced, who is never going to watch this. I'm telling you, if they just came out with consistent quality, it would be over for everybody else. It'd be over. Yeah. Sorojan says, I'm still in awe of how much I love the Too Faced Born This Way Foundation. They did it right. They have so many good products. So many good products. And indie brands can kind of learn from that, you know? And like we were talking about Freck Beauty earlier, you know, it's about standing out. It's about figuring out how your product is going to keep bringing people back through your brand identity. Like, what is your brand identity and how are you going to build on that? How are you going to build on that and make people absolutely fall freaking in love with you? It's easier said than done. I admit it. But I think that positive customer experience through the quality of the product is a fantastic place to start. I think that's where it needs to start, in my opinion, is even if you don't have the best packaging, even if you're an indie brand just starting, my opinion, this is just my opinion, you know, it's one person, but I think where people need to start is just high quality products that people are going to find joy in. Once you can nail that down, then working on the marketing of it, the packaging, how you're going to sell it, fun things happening on your social media, you know, creative things like Essence. Okay, we talked about that in What's Up in Makeup today, how Essence did the crackle nail polish, trying to bring crackle nail polish back. Don't get me started on crackle nail polish. It is not fabulous. But the kids are like, oh my gosh, I've never seen this before, because they weren't alive then, or they were very, very young in 2012, very, very young. So they're marketing to a new audience, but their social media on it is so good. And they're totally trolling in the comments. It's adorable. Like the fun things that you can do to market, just being silly. You know, like I got my issues with Tarte, but that freaking person in the concealer costume is hilarious to me. Somebody walking around in a Shape Tape concealer costume, walking through empty offices was hilarious to me. Like figuring out how to market your products in a way that's fun, that again creates that positive emotion. Again, we've talked about this so many times. People want to feel something. They want to feel something. And if you can make people laugh, if you can have fun with it, if you can enjoy it. And, you know, I got my issues with Jared and Jeremy, who started Too Faced. They just started Polite Society. If you go over to their socials, they're trying to do the same thing they did with Too Faced with Polite Society, which is their new indie makeup brand, right? Their socials are so fun over there. It's constantly just showing how much fun people are having. You know, people in the office get, you know, like seeing people, like they did like a Friends parody where they were all on the couch and they're laughing. They did a thing on their Instagram where they did a camera on their employees of like when they came in for the meeting. They were supposed to be there at whatever time, and they put a camera so when people walked in, it was like, when did people come in? You know, and they showed people coming in like super early, and people come with their coffee and they're like, oh, there's a camera there. Like, I don't know if it was staged or not, but it was really freaking cute. It was really cute. So I think building up those socials to engage people with a fun, like even if you're not having fun, show them you're having fun. You know, like what can you do to make people enjoy following your brand, not just because you make high quality products, but because it's a fun brand to follow, because you make them laugh. You know, you bring them joy just seeing what you're going to put out next, you know? So those are just my thoughts. I've been talking for a while, so let me see what you all are saying. Yeah. So Cynthia says the only way I knew Gerard Cosmetics existed was from YouTubers. And I think the thing about YouTuber promotion, I think YouTuber promotion is good, but that can't be the whole thing. That can't be the whole thing. And I don't think it's the whole thing with Gerard Cosmetics. I think, at least, especially now, it's such a small piece of what Gerard Cosmetics has to offer. And this is me speaking from being friends with Jen, so I am super, super biased. But I think that may have been the way Gerard Cosmetics was introduced, but I don't think that that's their brand identity now. That's just my opinion. But yes, I think a lot of people are the same way, Cynthia. Absolutely. Yes. Purple Cat said, that's why I liked Odin's eyeshadows and Unearthly Lips. So fun. I love the purple. Odin's Eye makes some really good palettes, and their artwork, the Odin's Eye artwork, is next freaking level. Where do I have? I have my little here we go. Here's the Angie palette. Here's the Hella palette. I mean, look at this artwork. Are you kidding me right now? Let's just take a moment to appreciate the artwork. Like, seriously? Like, that's incredible. Like, what? Let me show you the inside. I don't think this is available anymore, but really good quality shadows. They work great, and the artwork is phenomenal. They found their brand identity. They're producing good quality things. I feel like Odin's Eye is on the right track. If there's been any drama with Odin's Eye, I don't know. Like, why should there be some drama with Odin's Eye that I don't know about? Yes, good word of mouth. Absolutely. Jen says, Cynthia, yes, we don't advertise, as I would rather put those funds into better products and better customer experience. Yes. And I think that's super, super important. I mean, I think you have to decide where the money is going to go. And I think number one is putting out quality products, like Jen's saying, putting out those high quality products that people can have a positive experience with is the number one thing that brands need to be doing. And I think that's the problem with a lot of the bigger brands and why they start falling out of favor. Yes, they have the reach with their name because people know the name and they're in big stores. But if you can't develop that long-term trust, people aren't going to buy from you long-term. You may have short-term success, but you're going to fizzle out, right? So I think that's really important to note. Yes, Francesca, I love the way you worded this. The key is to sell the experience rather than just the product alone. Oh, 100%. Absolutely. Yeah, Aimless says, I was Ulta recently. The Polite Society little section was cute. Not gonna lie, I stopped to take a little peek at it. I didn't buy anything because Jared Blandino makes me feel icky. He makes me feel icky too. And I would have bought, if it wasn't Jared Blandino, I probably would have bought some stuff. But I don't believe he's any different. I don't believe it. He hasn't shown me that he has made any steps since the Rich Lives Matter cake, thinking that was okay. That was not okay. No. So yeah, that's why I didn't buy anything. But everybody has to decide from their own self what you want to do. For me, that was a deal breaker. So. Joe, I think anyone dresses as things like concealers or hot dogs or lobsters to market stuff is delightful. People in children's shows dresses in big costumes like Yo Gabba Gabba was a no-go. Don't knock on Yo Gabba Gabba. That show was good. Biz Marquee, come on now. We saw Yo Gabba Gabba live at a theme park. It was like a 15-minute show. We paid like $50 a ticket for a 15-minute show. It was ridiculous. I don't know if it was $50, but maybe it was like $30. I don't know. It was a lot for 15 minutes to see the costume and stuff. I felt like we got ripped off, but my kids loved it at the time. They were huge Yo Gabba Gabba fans. I have the cutest video of the kids when they're tiny. John's probably about 2. And Phoenix would have been 5. And they're in front of the TV in our little tiny house that we lived in when I started this YouTube channel. And they're in front of the TV doing all the things. And it was just, I loved that show. I thought that was a good show. You didn't like it? If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google Yo Gabba Gabba. Go on YouTube and watch a clip so you can get the idea of what that show was. It was so good. It was one of the best kid shows back then, in my opinion. But anyway. Yeah, Megan says, I feel like YouTube started out as word of mouth and flipped promotional, but now that's over on TikTok. So will YouTube switch back now? I'm kind of seeing it happening. Yeah. Flip to promotional, not emotional. Promotional. Yeah. I think that if you go to the right corners of YouTube, you will find the word of mouth side. I think that it's just, You just have to know who to follow. And if you're getting the icks, then just watch somebody else. You know, there are some of us out there that are still doing the just the reviews. I mean, like, but the thing, see, I can't even say that though, because I do sponsored content, you know, flip to promotional. Yeah. I mean, it's hard though when it's your full-time gig to not do some promotion. It's hard. I mean, but I'm only talking about sponsored content though. So, I mean, but I only promote brands that I absolutely love. I only do sponsor content for brands that I absolutely love, like the native sponsorship I did today. I've been literally using native, like okay, so let me tell you about this. So I did the native sponsorship today, and I was doing I needed to do the B-roll, the shots of the products, and I wanted to do the one of me fluffing the soap. So I asked my son to film it for me. So I put my arm in the shower. Okay. I was fully clothed. You can see it's just my arm in the shower, and I poured the native soap on the sponge and on the floof, and I went like this, like that, and I held it out, and I told my son, I was like, John, you can't get the products in the background in the shot. And he was like, all right. So he wasn't I made him shoot it twice. The second time he wasn't really paying attention. At one point his finger was in it, and you could see the products in the background. Thankfully, the only product that had the label turned was the native body wash that I am currently using in the shower that I've had in there. It was from their candy collection. I forget, it's the blue one from the candy collection. That was the only one you could see because I legit use their products every single day. I use their deodorant every single day. There was a period of time where I was like, well, maybe I'll try some other things. You know, I gotten some stuff sent to me from other brands, some other natural deodorants, and I did not like them as much. So I went back to my native. So it's like I don't do sponsorships for brands that I don't actually love and use. So yeah, I mean, like I get the going back on topic, because we're out of time. Going back on topic, I get that it gets exhausting, you know, with the promotion. And I think you just have to decide whether the person is promoting it, if you're talking about like paid promotions, if they're promoting it because they genuinely love it, or are they promoting it just for a paycheck? Because we went through that with Morphe, where they were promoting it, it seemed like just for a paycheck, right? So, I mean, I think everybody just has to decide on their own. Everybody just has to decide on their own. Oh, Marlena popped in. Hi, Marlena. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So I should probably go because we're technically 5 minutes over, but I started a couple minutes late. So we're 1 minute over. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I feel like there are points of view, so many points of view that I didn't cover here. So if you said something in live chat that I missed, I would love for you to come back and leave that comment in the comment section down below. If you're watching this on the replay, I would love to hear your thoughts. And yeah, that's it. This Friday, I don't know what the topic of my Friday video is going to be. I'm still figuring that out. I've got a big week with my marshmallow business this week as far as production goes. So I don't know what's going to happen when it comes to the video, because I don't know how much time I'm going to be able to dedicate to it. But live chat for next week is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we will be there then. Thank you all so much for being here. Mad love to you. Have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Bye.